You are listening to the second to the last story for the month of April, 2026, issue 235. I'd like to welcome you if you're new here at Clarkesworld, and if you're a longtime listener, welcome back. My name is Kate Baker, and I'm your host and narrator. And I want to thank you for your ongoing support just by being here or by checking a few bucks our way via patreon.com/Clarkesworld, a donation, or buying a subscription. You help us bring you these stories to help you escape the world outside. So thank you for being here. Our story is titled The Forgetting Code and is by Malena Salazar Maciá. Malena Salazar Maciá is a fantasy and science fiction writer born in Havana, Cuba. She is the author of the novels La Era de los Sobrevivientes, Editorial Gente Nueva, Cuba, Aliento de Dragón, 2021, Enlace Editorial, Colombia, and Los Arentes, 2022, Últimos Monstruos, Editores Rep Dominican, among others. Her stories have been collected in both national and foreign anthologies. English translations of her stories have appeared in Clarkesworld, Strange Horizons, and The Dark Magazine. Her work has also been translated into Croatian, German, Italian, and Japanese. And if you like what you hear, please go back to Geminoid and Eyes of the Crocodile. So, my dear listener, I hope that you can sit back, relax, and let me tell you a story. There is no formula for forgetting, no precise way to erase the pain. Complete healing is impossible, because there is always a little needle sticking inside, a pain so slight that if pressed, it passes through the body from side to side like a plasma shot. However, Joel helped those who wished to forget. On his server, he wove memories that no one wanted to possess in their mind and incorporated them into a huge binary tapestry. In each line lay the echo of something: a love, a loss, a smile, a deception, an unwanted contact. Each interlaced 0 and 1 became a therapeutic silence. And Joel, its weaver. But despite never having used it on himself, Joel couldn't remember the exact moment when he lost his daughter, Mireille. A girl who longed to learn the art of creating threads of oblivion from her father. Curious, skilled in creating androids, she had her workshop in the back where no one else could poke their nose in to look around. Joel did remember Mireille's first android, a small one that he always carried in a pocket of his skin suit, ready to translate natural language into binary so that customers would forget the yarn of the idea as soon as the tiny construct uttered a 0 or a 1 in its robotic voice. Mireille had hazelnut eyes and dark hair that floated around her face whenever Joel, at her request, deactivated the station's gravity control. She liked to glide through the air among the wiring of the orbital station that served as a refuge for Joel and so many others who longed to leave something behind. Whenever Joel asked her to perform maintenance on his servers, Mireille would perform pirouettes, twirling on her axis with a belt of tools around her full hips. Sometimes customers showed up with gifts. "For the sweet child with the hazelnut eyes," they'd say. Mireille gladly played with their toys, used the shiny trinkets to adorn her hair like shooting stars, and most of all loved solving the complicated puzzles they would bring her. Joel remembered that there was one special gift, a figurine of a ballerina made from a material one of the girl's androids classified as hand-painted porcelain. Something fragile, very difficult to see and preserve in space. It was given by a young explorer of asteroids when Mireille turned 15. Mireille liked it so much that it inspired her to learn to dance in zero gravity. Later, her fascination grew to the point of recreating the figure in a human-scale gynoid, perfect down to the smallest detail and false flesh. But she never had gotten around to awakening it. The young explorer of asteroids became a regular client. He'd bought Mireille all kinds of gifts while asking Joel to clear his mind of trivial matters. They were silly excuses to be alone with Mireille, Joel knew. The young man felt more than friendship for the girl, with whom he would have long conversations inside the station. While Mireille laughed with the sweet melodic tone of a pan flute, Joel attended to the requests of the mourners at the station entrance. Some clients asked him to destroy their memories forever. Joel advised against it. Instead, he offered them a hot drink and a place on his terrace to chat. Although Joel created a code for forgetting, he firmly believed that losses were never the end of something. They were reborn in the form of a new love and not without sacrifice. However, no one believed in new dawns or reunions of destiny. What perished, what drowned at the sea of delirium, did not return. The walls imposed by hearts wounded could not be torn down. Even so, Joel used his small pocket assistant to record the requests in his clients' faces, to remember them, if necessary. And then, one day, Mireille disappeared. 30 years ago. That much he remembered. From then on, Joel secluded himself in the station, transformed into a grumpy old man who barely attended the mourners whose memories had become wounds. Joel, silently, sometimes wished to weave himself into the code, to use the binary tapestry that he would have created with such mastery to relieve others and relieve himself of the heavy burden of Mireille's memories. He finally understood the fools who knocked on his door, asking him to erase their memories because he had become just another fool. But he couldn't stop dreaming of his daughter floating around the station with her tool belt and her android assistants. He didn't want to throw her androids into the scrapyard or push the dancing gynoid into space to dance forever in zero gravity. He didn't want to leave his daughter's sweet voice behind. Even if he had closed Mireille's workshop, with each cycle the wounds would widen, and on more than one occasion he held the helmet of oblivion over his head with trembling hands and tears about to overflow from his eyes, only to throw it aside in spasms of silent sobs. Then, while performing a routine check on the binary tapestry, he found a sequence, a laugh, hazelnut eyes, a graceful girl floating in the station. It was from 10 years ago. He searched for the recording, a young man devastated by loss, speaking with the voice of the absent. She's gone. Now she sleeps in a star. But I can't stop dreaming of her eyes of light, he said with a broken voice. Take away my memories of her. Make me forget her forever. Destroy everything, like that damn supernova. It's too much pain to be sustained by one soul, please. A shiver ran through Joel. He had found Mireille. Without telling him, she had chased after the love of the explorer and ended up inside a fading star. For days, Joel's only sign of activity was watching the lines of code highlighted in the pattern. Mireille was there, fragmented in thoughts, suspended in a band of light. He had to find her, solve the puzzle, like she used to do as a child when she played with the customers' gifts. His daughter's androids attended to him. They bathed him. They fed him. They took his vital signs. They clicked in gibberish in their simulation of concern, until the day the old man abandoned the console. Joel ran to Mireille's workshop and opened it. The doors rustled as they slid open for him. Her androids were there, covered in dust and, ironically, in oblivion. He found the ballerina, gynoid. He looked at the robot for a few minutes. He wiped the dark powder off it with his own skin suit. He touched the synthetic flesh, looked into the hazelnut eyes and the dark hair adorned with glittering trinkets. It was Mireille. Perhaps she knew that one day she would disappear, and she wanted to leave a record that she once stepped on that small station hidden in nothingness. Joel dragged the gynoid to the console cubicle. He sat it in the penitent's chair. He placed a helmet on its head, taking care not to damage the accessories. The myriads of needles immediately connected with the gynoid's artificial neural network. The console sent an alert. A void entity has connected. No memory patterns detected. Fail. Fail. The procedure cannot be completed. Joel sat at the console and searched the memories from the explorer's mind. He felt a lump in his throat. They weren't complete. The explorer only had a part of his daughter, half of a life. To anyone, it might seem like Joel had an obsession, but he had no other Mireille but his own. Joel took the helmet and placed it on his head. In that moment, he understood the grimaces of pain, the tears, the pursed lips, and the begging to him to gag them. The invasion of the system was devastating. So many tiny needles in every pore, inserted, searching in his brain and its complex neural network, all to capture fragments of memories, dreams, condense them into one, and encode them. His little pocket assistant squealed. "Abort procedure! Danger! Danger!" Joel placed a finger on the back of the robot's neck in the pocket of his skin suit and pressed the off button. Mireille's first creation fell back into his pocket, disjointed. Joel was able to focus on the console again. When he finished the new configuration on the tapestry of forgetting, Joel wondered how far someone would go to bring back a loved one instead of forgetting them, as his usual clients requested. It didn't matter. He entered the commands into the console. The tapestry illuminated the key binary sentences and created new ones. Activating function to extract true and false memories generated through memories and dream patterns. Activating reverse memory storage function. You will lose A, B, and C effective memories. Do you wish to continue? Yes. Connecting last neural networks. Receptacle ready. Donor ready. Initiating transfer. Joel felt as if his head had been slashed open with a knife. He gripped the chair in front of the console tightly. He screamed. He sobbed. He asked for everything to stop. But the system refused to override the process because somehow the tapestry understood Joel. Mireille opened her eyes. She looked around every corner of the room and smiled. Somehow she was back in her father's work cabin. Something inside her, not human, vibrated like an alert. That she was there shouldn't have happened at all. Carefully, she removed the helmet with a grimace of pain. She frowned. Her vision was the same as when she'd used the augmented reality goggles to make adjustments on the station. She touched her face and felt the cold in human flesh. Then she remembered, and something inside her, in her head, unsettled her. She leaned back in her chair, closed her eyes, and activated an infrared command. The last thing she remembered was being outside a ship. The two of them floating. She and the asteroid explorer. No, they weren't crazy to jump into space without precautions. No, he simply loved her. And she loved him. They trusted each other in an eternal dance. Then, the light, the nearby supernova. They flew back to the ship, but she crashed between two asteroid fragments and was trapped. She screamed through the intercom, and she watched the asteroid explorer fly away without looking back. He fled via hyperjump. She wanted to think that the intercom had been damaged. She wanted to think he believed she was beside him when he stepped into the airlock and ran to the controls. But the reality was that she was left behind in the naked light, in the silent roar. Mireille opened her eyes and knew that somehow she was back. No, she was wrong. She wasn't back somehow. She was there because he decided to forget her. Customers always said it was easier that way. Then, as her father used to tell his clients, the lost love returned in a new form. She deactivated the infrared gaze, the scanning lenses, and looked at the console. Sitting there was a collapsed old man who also had a helmet of forgetting. He looked gray-haired and withered. From one of the pockets of his skin suit dangled a tiny robot. She recognized it immediately. It was the first one she created to assist her father in the art of weaving forgetting into a binary tapestry. It took Mireille a few seconds to adjust to her new gynoid controls. Her mind expanded beautifully, and she could sense without touching every active system on the station. She carefully freed the man from the helmet. She cupped his face. Her eyes began to compare her memories with the pattern of the man's face. There was a 100% match, and she stroked his cheeks with her thumbs and blew softly at his eyelashes. The man opened his eyes, his gaze wandering for a few moments before focusing on her. He flashed a smile that made Mireille's systems pulse with excitement. "Hello, child," he greeted. "Where am I? Who are you?" Mireille placed a hand on her chest. The creation of a void was beginning. A huge one. "I'm Mireille, Papa," she murmured. He studied her carefully, confused. "You're little Mireille. You're my Papa. Your name's Joel." "What a beautiful name, Mireille. And no, I don't have any daughters." "Who's this Joel you're talking about?" Joel smiled again. His brown eyes wandered. Mireille felt her circuits begin to create patterns, simulating pain, a pain that was beginning to stab her. I don't think I have anything to do. We can look for that man. We can look for your Papa. What did you say your name was?" Mireille ran her hands over her cold face to remove any traces of dust. Although it was unnecessary, someone had cleaned her. With calm, she repeated her name. She helped Joel up. Water, leaking from somewhere, pooled in her synthetic eyes. A tear fell on her perfect cheek. "Why are you crying, child?" "It's nothing," she assured him. "In the meantime, do you want to stay with me?" "Yes, I want to stay with you. I don't know anything here. Look at those cables and those... What are those? How awful. I don't know anything, forgive me. I'll probably stay with you. You seem like a smart girl who knows what she's doing." Mireille controlled the system so as not to shake while driving the old man to a small folding table in the corner with a simple chair. He looked around, distracted. She instructed the rest of the androids to immediately attend to Joel, checking his skin suit, give him something warm to eat, monitor his vital systems. Then Mireille approached the console and looked at the entire unfolded binary tapestry. She had never seen it in its entirety. She reviewed the last sentences. She found a curious binary code. She activated it. Then a song escaped from the equipment. "Child, are you the one singing?" Joel asked, accepting the bowl of soup that an android was passing him. "Yes," Mireille affirmed, in her gynoid chest trembling with a spasm, and added in a very low voice. "Yes, Papa." "Ah, you sing very beautifully. And excuse me, but can you tell me who you are again, little child?" Mireille turned lightly to look at the old man sitting at a flimsy folding table, the small robot, translator of natural language to binary, hanging from his pocket. Look at the man who refused to forget her and, ironically, had forgotten everything about her. But perhaps not completely. Mireille managed a warm smile. "Me? I'm your favorite memory, Papa." What are your thoughts on the story? You can send us an email. I'm kate@clarksworldmagazine.com. We have one more story left for you for the month of April. I do hope you'll come back and listen should you so choose. And until then, my dear listener, I bid you a very fond and hopefully very temporary farewell.